There's a sense that this is a good opportunity to remind people where they came from, what their background is, and that they probably shouldn't forget it, or they shouldn't forget it at all. People once took chances and risks and put their lives and gambled things for what they believed in, for thoughts and ideas. And a lot of times that's simply forgotten today, or it just isn't recognized. While you're here in Ireland, obviously, there's the uprising, which seems to come to mind. But in a lot of ways, it's pretty much one of the darker years for World War I. And you've got really no end in sight to what has become a messy, bloody stalemate. And so a lot of 1916, just to me, is about war being fought in Napoleonic terms with 20th century weaponry. So it's a very awkward transitional phase. You're just sending people over the top, you throw a few cannons in, you bombard them, and you mix in a couple airplanes, but the weaponry is such that you're just killing people for no apparent reason. It's basically what it was. I haven't seen enough because I've been in County Donegal, but this is our first time being in a city where you'd see a lot of influence from 1916. So far, my impression is, with my wife's family, is they're very well up on it. A lot of the schoolwork that my nephews and nieces has focused on it. There's ads in the local papers, there's stuff on the walls around Donegal town. So there is a there's definitely a sense. Now, way back when the United States had their bicentennial in 1976, I had a similar sort of school experience. And that's what I relate it most to from my background. There's a sense that this is a good opportunity to remind people where they came from, what their background is, and that they probably shouldn't forget it, or they shouldn't forget it at all. And that there is a lot more to what you currently have today in your environment. People once took chances and risks and put their lives and gambled things for what they believed in, for thoughts and ideas. And a lot of times that's simply forgotten today, or it just isn't recognized. Pure tourists, we took a bus tour yesterday, and I always knew a great deal about the Troubles, or I thought I did, but you don't understand them until you actually have the opportunity to physically get up close. And then it becomes very depressing. It's like, oh, yeah, okay, it's not an abstract document or historical thing you're reading about. It's, oh my goodness, this is where people actually lived. They walked up and down this street. I would say, looking at 1916 and looking at yesterday's tour, it graphically illustrated exactly the division, exactly why the struggle could be so long and so deep. And it was for that reason alone, my wife and I both felt the trip for us was very good, and for my kids, very, very important. It gave them a chance to see something, and experience something, and feel something that I don't think they ever would have gotten from a history book. It was actually been the word we used is impactful. It was disturbing, and in a weird sort of way, kind of sad and depressing, because you could actually see and feel, oh my word, just being in the wrong place at the wrong time meant a lot. Could be the end. So yeah, it's been a very, very good trip, and we've felt that both from seeing the 1916 stuff and yesterday's tour, which kind of put the whole thing together for me. The other thing that it reminds me of was I had the opportunity to go to Lebanon in about 2000, and when you leave the airport to go into Beirut, you see the refugee camps by the side of the road. And they were pointed out to me. And I was there on business, and they pointed it out. And you got the real sense and feeling of what it was like to have a wall or a dividing line set up, and that you were restricted to this place, and this place was not, it wasn't like you had the best opportunities. In a weird sort of way, that's how the peace walls felt to me. They're up there, they're dividing, and the division that creates limits opportunity, it limits the possibility of expansion, it fences you in, and I understand why they built them. But by the same time, what that wall does is it divides and diminishes as opposed to building and creating.